Hey guys, what's going on? Aim Assist for us here. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about how to see aim assist and aimbot in the first person and third person point of views. Now, these cheats are pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to start with aimbot and then go into aim assist. Now, aimbot is kind of a more strong form of aim assist, so a lot of the things I talk about with aimbot will also apply to aim assist from the first person point of view, but the thing that, definitely separates aimbot from aim assist is the fact that in the third person point of view, you can't really see aim assist. It's basically impossible to see if you're spectating someone. However, aimbot, it's a different story. Now, a lot of the time, aimbot is silently built into Killera. Now, what exactly do I mean by that? I mean, like, if you use the hacked client, if you use Killera, it will look like you're not looking at the person and you're attacking them, but in reality, server side, you're actually sending rotation packets to look at the opponent. Now, most of the time, this is actually implemented to bypass something called the direction check in No Cheat Plus, which basically checks the angle that the person's looking at. It's pretty complicated, and I don't really want to go into it right now, but basically, aimbot is often, but not always, built into Killera. So it kind of makes sense that it would be obvious at the third person point of view, because the person also will have other features such as reach or, head snaps and stuff, and we're actually going to talk about that right now. So how exactly do you see aimbot in the third person? Well, most people who are pretty trained in recognizing hacks can easily identify someone using aimbot. I mean, their head is snapping around, it might be flipping out in certain directions and stuff, but how are you sure that they are 100% using aimbot and not, just on high sensitivity? Now, one of the easiest ways to see aimbot in the third-person point of view is to check where the player who is suspected of aimbot is looking. Lots of aimbots will actually lock on to the head of the opponent if the two players are on the same Y level, because that is the most direct path to the opponent. So it will look at effectively zero pitch, which means that the path is the most direct, which means it's the closest, basically. And because of that, if you see someone who is basically locking on to just below the head of the opponent, you'll know that they're using aimbot. Now, another great way to tell if someone's using an aimbot is to just look at how they interact with other players that go around them. For example, lots of aimbots have priority, and effectively what that is you can actually set different methods by which the aimbot chooses to lock on to different players. Like, for example, you have distance, you have closest to crosshair. There's lots of different methods that you can use in terms of those cheats. And one of them is distance. So effectively, what that means is that the closest player to the player using aimbot will be locked onto. And that is incredibly easy to see, because if someone gets closer to the player than the player that the player accused of using aimbot or apparently using aimbot is locked onto, then the person apparently using aimbot will immediately snap to the player who's closer, and that's easy to see. However, you have to understand that these two features don't occur in every aimbot, and as these two features become less and less consistent, like if you make the aimbot not really look directly at the head, now it's kind of like looking at the middle of the body, but it's not looking, it's still looking in the middle of the body, and then you get, it's not even looking at the middle of the body anymore, just looking on the body, and then now it's not even looking on the body, it's just looking near the body for that one, and then for the head snapping one, it's like, oh, it slowly goes to the other player, or it doesn't go to the other player if you're locked onto one player. Then you start kind of going from the domain of aimbots and kind of Killera and stuff that everyone really knows how to see in the third-person point of view, and going into kind of aim assist. And the reason why aim assist really came to fruition in the first place, well, first of all, it was copied off other games, but a main reason is because it was used to basically bypass the detection of moderators who were spectating the player, because you can't really see third-person aim assist. Now, as I've stated before, aim assist cannot be seen in the third-person point of view because it is way too slow and basically looks like a normal player aiming. It's virtually impossible to tell in the third-person point of view. So that means that if you spectate someone using aim assist, you cannot tell they're using aim assist. And that's kind of the advantage of aim assist, and that's why people use it. However, it is possible to tell if someone is using an aim assist in the first-person point of view. So if they record themselves cheating, it is definitely possible. Now, in the past on this channel, I've exposed several players who are blatantly using aim assist in their videos, and I'm going to try to explain to you guys what I mean by blatantly using aim assist. Well, most of the time, aim assist on a very low setting, even in people's videos, is difficult to see, if not impossible to see. However, once they turn it up to a high enough setting, it is definitely possible to see that they're using aim assist. A really easy way to tell if someone is using aim assist is that you can see that their cursor their crosshair is 100% following the opponent. So if the person recording is 100% following the opponent. Now, what exactly do I mean by that? I mean the correlation between the opponent's movement and the person aiming is like 100%. Like you're always moving towards where the player is. And so if the player's to the left of you, you move left. If the player's to the right of you, you move right. And I always look at what percentage of the time, that is not the case. So what percentage of the time, if the person's to the left, I move right? Because that does happen. Normal people aiming, sometimes, occasionally, you won't look and you won't aim directly at where the person is. You'll kind of kind of move a little bit to one direction first and then to the other. And other times it takes you more time to aim to where the opponent is. Like with aim assist, generally you move to where the opponent is very quickly, or generally very quickly. But with legitimate movement and legitimate aim, it takes you a little bit longer to move to where the player is, and that's just the fact of the aim assist being a robot that's basically moving you to where the player on your screen is. Now, once the player whose recording's crosshair locks onto the opponent, you want to make sure and check to see if the crosshair leaves the opponent's body at all. And obviously, aim assists have FOVs and stuff and kind of ranges. So if the person goes out of the range of the player, then obviously they're not going to be locked on, right? But you want to make sure and you want to see if the person who's allegedly using aim assist is leaving the opponent's body, because a lot of aim assists have a pullback, right? Or if you try to get off the body, it won't really let you off of it. It will pull you back on because it's an aim assist effectively. And yeah, you really just want to look to see if you can see that kind of lock that I've been describing, where you kind of lock on to where the opponent is and you follow the opponent with almost 100% accuracy. That's the best way to tell if someone's using aim assist in the first person point of view. Now, obviously, with all of these things, this method especially is not going to be 100% accurate. Sometimes you're going to falsely accuse people of aim assist, and sometimes you're going to see someone who's cheating and not know that they're cheating. And that's simply because the nature of aim assist makes it very difficult to see by its very nature. I mean, it is a solution to Aimbot where you're not supposed to be able to see it. So obviously, it's going to be difficult to see. And I think it's more difficult to see than reach and velocity, because those can be seen in the third person point of view. But, overall, all of these cheats in general, and especially aim assist, can probably be detected by an anti-cheat much better, a server-side anti-cheat, by the way, or client-side, depending on what you want to use, much better than people can see them. But my main point here is that if you want to know how to see aim assist and how to see someone blatantly using aim assist, just come to this video and I explained it. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I don't really have much else to say. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Make sure you join my Discord, link in the description. I'm not doing ASMR Brust today, but join in anyway.